yeah, it's just going up, okay? But this is apparently based on real sort of, data. And this is far more Nicholas's sort of area, but the bottom line is by 2015, you're looking at potentially $6 billion in social gaming, which is pretty potent stuff, especially when you think of box sales are going down. And very briefly, because I'm aware of the time, social gaming revenue, for those of you who may not know, is generally gathered in three ways. It's in-game advertising, so you're going to be branded in there. So as marketing gets more granular, people sort of want to slip in the brands so that people don't notice them. That's kind of common. Then you've got microtransactions, which are within games that people can use real money to purchase not real things, which I'll talk about more in a second, but that really blows me away that I walk up to someone and go, if you give me £10, I'll give you 100 Marek pounds, and then that'll be good. You can buy stuff with that aren't real. I find that really fascinating, but it works. It's a massive, microtransactions are massive. And then you've got the kind of more standard way of actually making money, and that's through subscriptions, which you pay a monthly chunk of money to actually experience it. So the point really is that it's vital that you know where you're going, what you're doing, who's doing what, as much as you can in this quite growing medium. So moving on. This point was actually quite important to me, and I was trying to think of a good way to write it, and it ended up coming out a little bit sort of staid. So social gamers frequently display unusual purchasing behavior inside the digital space. But what I really mean to say, and I'm not trying to be too clever here, is that gamers are weird. And I mean that with some affection and respect, being one myself. In the sense, what fascinates me in general, and particularly in gaming, is what we ascribe value to. What will we spend time on? What will we put emotion into? And what will we, importantly, for a lot of games developers, spend our money on? And I'm going to give you one sort of slightly more extreme example and one less extreme example. But both are really good illustrations of the fact there's a great deal of money. Social games have a great deal of money in it to be made. 2005, a company who make an MMO, so a massively multiplayer game, called Entropia, and I think they're based in Denmark, but I could be completely wrong there. Sorry? Do you know?
Scandinavia, I think, Sweden.
Yeah, okay, Sweden. They basically put up a space station in the game, and they put it up for sale to anyone who wanted to buy it. Now, does anyone want to try and be brave, and not silly, but guess how much in 2005 someone paid for that station? No? Okay, I'll do that then. The answer is $100,000 was paid for that space station by a guy called John Never Die Jacobs. And he said, yeah, I'd love to be at his funeral. It sounds a bit grim, but you'd be like, yeah, not a very good nickname after all. 2009 though, because I remember hearing about this and thinking, my God, why is someone going to pay $100,000 for that? On the other hand, my father, who's a chartered surveyor, always says that property is worth what people will pay for it. 2009, actually it was sold to Buzz Eric Lightyear for $330,000. What the hell is going on there? But the point is that the guy made money off it, so what are we to say? But actually having spoken to people who work in the sort of microtransaction, the large transaction area, people will spend an incredible amount of money on stuff, basically, is the not particularly deep comment I have to make on that. Moving forward to one of the biggest MMOs in the world, which is World of Warcraft, they, I think 2 years ago, put up for sale a mount called the Celestial Steed. Now the mount is basically for your character to ride around on. This guy's made of stars, he's really cool and stuff. And they put him on their store in America for $25. Now, I remember thinking at the time, as a player of World of Warcraft occasionally, I remember thinking I would be so surprised if someone's going to shell out $25 for that, because it costs $15 a month just to play the game. So that's a lot more. What the heck is going on? And within 4 hours, they'd made $4 million of sales on that Celestial Steed. I remember logging on and thinking, see, I've had 10 people in front of me having bought these things. Because of the fact there's a great deal of value put in showing off in these games, and that's a really important point. Now the third and last point, lesson I think is really useful, because people often talk, it's a real sort of catchphrase, like when you're learning how to write, people say show, don't tell. Obviously in these sorts of conferences you hear a lot of content is king, and it absolutely is in this sort of exploding, contracting, converging world. But I think when it comes to social video games, one of the core lessons I think is that content is actually queen and a community is king. That's a huge, huge point. If you create a social game and have no space for your community to thrive, to grow, to change, then you're kind of suffocated straight off the bat. Looking briefly through, I've actually lost track of the time slightly, so please do nudge me if I'm going too far. Okay, good. Farmville, for example, which hugely popular game for Facebook, which allows for people to buy gifts for one another. So it's looking for ways for you to interact with Dave, who might not play, and you can gift him something. That's a huge draw to try and grow the community.